This folding of this napkin and the grave clothes being lying there with no body in them was all the proof that John needed. To him, Jesus was now alive. We turn now in verse 11 of John 20 to Mary's account of what happened to her as she came to the tomb.
But Mary stood weeping outside the tomb. And as she wept, she stooped to look into the tomb. And she saw two angels in white, sitting where the body of Jesus had lain, one at the head and one at the feet. They said to her, "Woman, why are you weeping?" She said to them, "Because they have taken my Lord, and I do not know where they have laid him." Saying this, she turned around and saw Jesus standing, but she did not know that it was Jesus. Jesus said to her, "Woman, why are you weeping? Whom do you seek?" Supposing him to be the gardener, she said to him, "Sir, if you have carried him away, tell me where you have laid him, and I will take him away." Jesus said to her, "Mary." She turned and said to him in Hebrew, "Rabboni," which means teacher. Jesus said to her, "Do not hold me, for I have not yet ascended to the Father. But go to my brethren and say to them, I am ascending to my Father and to your Father, to my God and to your God."
It is impossible for us at this particular juncture to enter into all of the very possible speculations as to the location of heaven, the nature of heaven, what is involved when Jesus goes to the Father, here spoken of as ascending. Personally, I think of heaven a little bit in the sense of other. That heaven, Jesus said, the kingdom of heaven is within you. That God is not very far away. In Him we live and we move and we have our being. That God is always near us, that we live in God. And I think in that sense the word ascending here as going from one mode of existence, one level of existence to another. And I think the word up or ascending is an accommodation to the ideas which men have had and held as the location of heaven, as being above. The nature of this resurrected body that Mary was not to touch, there's really nothing we can say that's based on knowledge. It's all based on speculation. Nobody knows. Nobody knows really what a resurrected body is like. We find that Jesus in this resurrected body appeared and disappeared in rooms that were locked, barred, no holes left in the wall, no disturbance of material. His coming and going had no effect upon the three-dimensional world that you and I live in. Since we don't understand it, we'd be better not to say anything, wouldn't we? Speculation is no help. We do know this, that even in the material universe, which includes radio waves and television waves, that these waves are able to penetrate walls. That having penetrated that wall, leaving no hole whatsoever, that on the inside of the room, that with equipment, you may be watching home today or you may be in a classroom, that we take electronic equipment and we take these signals and we rebuild an image. And while I know it's a facsimile, it's not three-dimensional, it's on just the surface of a tube, but we rebuild or reconstitute a picture. We have not damaged the walls whatsoever. Even this is mysterious to us. Even those who work with it, it's mysterious to them. How much more the existence of a real person, three-dimensional, who's able to say behold my hands and my feet. You know, put your hand in my side. And to Thomas, be no longer faithless, but believing. But we're going to say no more, because we can very easily reach beyond our knowledge and expose ourselves to being mere speculators, which is of no profit to us. After she left him, Mary Magdalene here went and said to the disciples, I've seen the Lord. And she said what things he had said to her. Go to Matthew 28, verses 11 through 15, please, bud.
While they were going, behold, some of the guard went into the city and told the chief priest all that had taken place. And when they had assembled with the elders and taken counsel, they gave a sum of money to the soldiers and said, Tell the people his disciples came by night and stole him away while we were asleep. And if this comes to the governor's ears, we will satisfy him and keep you out of trouble. So they took the money and did as they were directed. And this story has been spread among the Jews to this day.
If it were not such a serious subject, this would almost be funny. These are professional soldiers. If there's anything they're not to do, it's to sleep on duty. And should a soldier, out of weariness, fall asleep on duty, the last thing he'd want to do is to admit it. And now these people take money and bribe these soldiers to testify to their own hurt that they went to sleep on the job. On top of that preposterous suggestion that these soldiers should testify against their own welfare, in the second place, if they were asleep, how did they know what happened? They not only are testifying against themselves, but they're testifying to a second absurdity. And they're saying, while we were asleep, they came and took him away. If they were asleep, they don't know what happened. Can't know what happened. And so they're not only are they jeopardizing themselves, they are adding testimony about which they know nothing. Or at least should know nothing on this. This story has been held, of course, by some down to this very time that the body of Jesus was not in the tomb because it had been taken away. We turn now to Luke's account in chapter 24 and verse 13 following. Luke 24.
That very day, two of them were going to a village named Emmaus, about 7 miles from Jerusalem, and talking with each other about all these things that had happened. While they were talking and discussing together, Jesus himself drew near and went with them. But their eyes were kept from recognizing him. And he said to them, What is this conversation which you are holding with each other as you walk? And they stood still, looking sad. Then one of them, named Cleopas, answered him, Are you the only visitor to Jerusalem who does not know the things that have happened there in these days? And he said to them, What things? And they said to him, Concerning Jesus of Nazareth, who was a prophet, mighty in deed and word before God and all the people, and how our chief priests and rulers delivered him up to be condemned to death and crucified him. But we had hoped that he was the one to redeem Israel.
Emmaus is not far from Jerusalem. It's just a ways to the northwest. It's walking distance. These two men are going along, and Jesus joins them. And they're sad. Jesus inquires as to what the trouble is. And they tell him that Jesus of Nazareth has been condemned and crucified. They hoped he was going to be the Redeemer of Israel. And then they report what the women had said. Women of our country amazed us. They were at the tomb early this morning and couldn't find his body. And they said that he was alive. They'd seen a vision of angels. And some of us went